I'm Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, I want to show you how you can use the batch setting tool in Axe Edit to easily manage your presets and to quickly compare tones so that you can make faster decisions while you're dialing in your presets. For context, I've got an amp block in this preset with 4 different classic Marshall amps in it. I've got the 1959 SLP treble, so based on a Marshall Super Lead reissue. I've got the Plexi 100 watt high. This is modeled on a 1969 Plexi, so right from the golden age. There is a 50 watt Plexi in here. I believe this one is a model of an amp that dates back to 1967. And then we've got another 50 watt Plexi in here, this time with 6 CA7 power tubes in there. Now, when I dial these amps in, generally on a Plexi, I like to have the bass turned down quite a lot. So if I go to the 1959 SLP treble, let's just turn the bass down below 2. It already sounds pretty crunchy. Now, rather than go through all 4 of those channels and turn the bass down to the same point and then turn, say, the treble and the mid-range up like you would on a Plexi, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hold down the Shift button on my computer keyboard. I'm going to right-click the bass control, and I'm going to go to Set in Multiple Presets. I'm going to use the All Channels option over here, and I'll just select the one preset, the preset that I'm in. This will now set the bass to 1.49 across all of these amps in here. Now I could say do the same thing. Let's say I want to turn the treble control up over here and then apply it to all 4 channels. Again, I'm going to hold down Shift, I'm going to right-click treble, and I'm going to go to Set on all channels just in this one preset. You can see that if there was a particular parameter I wanted to change, like say the gain across multiple presets in one channel or all channels, I can do that again. But what this has done is this has helped me set up all 4 channels of the amp block with exactly the same bass and treble settings on there. So I could sit there and I could easily compare the tone of them now. Now, out of those, I'm really digging that Plexi 50 watt high on there. I am going to save this preset on here, and I could do a similar thing. If I go in and dial in this amp and I find the sweet spot on the presence and the sweet spot on the mid-range control, I can save my preset, then I can go through and I can apply that to all 4 channels in the amp block. Now, this will work with advanced parameters. Like for example, in the speaker tab, the type of impedance curve has quite a big effect on the overall tone and the feel of the amp block that you're playing. And in fact, if you're, say, playing a particular type of amp, maybe through a solid state power amp and a real guitar cabinet, and you wanted to batch set this to the impedance curve that best matches your cabinet, you could do this across all of your presets, basically with a couple of clicks on there. But let's just say for this particular preset, I'm going to turn the Auto Dynacab impedance off. And I don't know, I really like this Loadbox LB2 UK curve on here. So let's, again, hold down Shift, right-click this parameter, and we'll go Set in Multiple Presets. Again, I'm just using this one preset, but if you wanted to set it to that impedance curve across all your presets or just a few presets, you could do that on there. Now, I've got the same impedance curve across all of these amps. It's going to make my comparison, I guess, a little more consistent on this. So I'll do it one more time. And out of all of that, I'm really enjoying this model. I actually haven't played too much around with it. I just kind of put it in there because I needed a 4th amp in my comparison. But this is a great example of how working quickly and then just trusting your ears can help you kind of discover an amp model maybe you hadn't played around with too much. So that's one example of using this batch setting tool in a single preset. Another, for example, would be like using a reverb. Let's say you haven't made up your mind on the type of reverb you want. Maybe you like a plate, a hall, a room, and one of the church reverbs, but you can't make up your mind on what you want in your main preset. So I've dialed in the gold plate. You've been hearing it across all of these. The mix is at 25%. I've turned the time down to 1.25 seconds on there, but in the other channels, I have a few different reverb options. I've got the South Church at the default settings in channel B, so you can see the times at 3.1 seconds. And on channel D, I've got the large room, also at the default settings. On channel C, I've got the mechanics hall. So the time across all of these is different. And ideally, I'd like the same mix and the same time across all of them. So let's go back to the gold plate over here. Before I do this, I'm going to save my preset, but I'm going to hold down Shift, right click time, and we're going to set it across all channels. And again, we're just using the same trick of doing it in a single preset. Now, if I go through my reverbs, you can see the time is at 1.25 seconds. I guess if I wanted to go even further with that, I could fix the size, but I'm just aiming for different reverb styles on here. So let's see the difference between these 4 verbs. Now, listening there, you can actually hear some very distinct differences to the way those short reverbs sound. Now, if I was trying to dial in, say, a long ambient reverb, I could go for much longer verbs on there. I might batch set the mix as well to be a lot higher on there. Kind of out of all of those, though, I really like the large room. I also really like the South Church on there with the shorter settings because those reverbs default to slightly longer settings. I actually rarely turn them down. A lot of the time you get reverb and you go, well, I'm just going to adjust the mix and maybe I'll turn the time up, but I never think to turn the time there on there. Again, that's another great little lesson that I've learned on there. So I'm pretty happy with that one. Another fun trick you can do with reverb is with the EQ, just add a little bit of a low cut in there. So we'll set the slope at 12 dB and let's go 250 Hertz on the low cut. And again, we're going to hold down Shift. We are going to right click and we're going to set this across all channels in our preset. I can do the same thing for that low cut slope as well, but if I come through here now, you can see I've got the same low cut across all 4 channels of my reverb. I've got the same time and the same mix, and that lets me really easily compare not just different reverb types at their stock values. I'm fixing the important parameters in there. I don't have to go through and start playing and then adjust and kind of chase my tail when I'm dialing in a sound. You know, you don't want to end up in that kind of rabbit hole where you're spending too much time tweaking on there. You get one reverb sounding pretty good, and then if you want to change the style, you bring them all up in the channels, and then you use this batch setting trick on there. Another example of this, where maybe we don't want to do it across all the channels, but we do want to do it across multiple presets, would be, say, turning the gain down. I'll give you an example. I've got a collection of presets here that I made when the gapless switching update came out for the Axe FX. So a rhythm scene, a lead scene, a rhythmic delay scene in here, and I'm using the USA Mark IV lead mid gain across all of these. Let's just have a listen to what this sounds like, say, on my rhythmic delay scene. And what I'm going to do is I want to turn, say, the overdrive control down on this, but I want to do it across all the different presets that I've got here. So it's not multiple scenes in one preset. This is just multiple presets. Let's have a listen, and then I'm going to turn the overdrive down maybe to 7 or 8. So you saw the overdrive was on 10 across all the other presets. So again, the trick is hold down Shift, right click overdrive. We're going to go to set in multiple presets, but this time I'm just going to choose channel A on here, and I'm going to select all of these presets on here all the way through to my phase lead. Once I've hit save, then I've got the overdrive at 7 in my rhythmic delay preset. I've got it at 7 in my lead preset, and I've got it at 7 in my main rhythm preset. It's going to be at 7 across all of those. So this is just going to give me a little bit more clarity and articulation. Another great example would be, say, adjusting the cab block high and low cut filters in here across multiple presets. I've got it quite extreme on the high cut. I'm at around 5K on there. If I wanted to bring that up to say 6.5K or 8K, I could apply that across all of my presets on there. There are global blocks on the Axe effects, but they're not on the FM9 and the FM3. So this is a great alternative to using those global blocks on there. It can help you dial in sounds faster. It can help you compare different amp models at the same settings faster, and it can help you manage your presets and make batch changes in there. And again, it's as simple as just holding down the shift button on your keyboard, right-clicking the parameter that you want to set, figuring out whether you want to set it across all the channels or individual channels in your preset, and then you're done. It is one of the best features in Axe Edit, and I hope you all get a lot of use out of it. If you've got any other questions, let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, I will see you all on the next Tuesday Tone Tip.